Stu McCaskey on piano, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy January! My name is Sarah with an H. It's a palindrome, Hera. Welcome to Mile High Church, and thanks for spending a portion of your weekend with us, especially if you're new. Our vision, Oneness Revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. Our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. Before we get started today, we want to give you a look at a few things coming up at Mile High Church for you and your family. Lynn McTaggart, renowned intention guru and the creator of the Power of 8 Intention Circles, will be here on February 2nd. Experience the transformative power of group intention to heal your life. And let's do some good. Support families in need by donating to our paper and personal care drive on February 9th. These basic needs benefit our longtime community partner, the Action Center.
So last summer, I set out to experience everything that the Mile High Church's healing ministry has to offer, and I want to tell you about how it went. The Healing Light service happens on the second Sunday of each month. Just by walking in, I felt transformed. I up-leveled my peace. Like, just by being there. I also stopped by the healing support group. There I found a great group of people who were just willing to listen and support each other and learn. And I don't know if it sounds strange, but it was really just a nice time. For the Healing Intention Circles, I went, but I was not able to attend, and it looks like I was on the way to get a haircut. But I was able to stop in and check it out. And what I saw was these small groups were sending and receiving healing energy. It was such a sweet thing to just pop in and look at for a minute. So after trying these things out, I realized, I had this feeling like I'm not alone, and that healing isn't sad or scary, but it's really, it's a community experience. And I just felt so supported by the facilitators and the community. So I recommend.
For more information about anything you've heard today, visit the Event Center or connect with us online at milehighchurch.org. This is Hera the Palindrome signing off. Peace.
Oh, that's funny. So guess what? You guys arrived on a very special day. We have Charles Holt here singing with us today. And Charles he's a good friend of Mile High. He's a good friend of mine. I'm so happy to have you here, Charles. He's not only a great singer, but he also has been involved with the Boys and Girls Club for most of your life. Yeah. And serving them in a way that is pretty spectacular. He deals with youth, and he has a curriculum that he's teaching to the youth of the Boys and Girls Club. He's got 2 books out at the table out there, and he would love to say hi to you and talk to you a little bit more about that. But guess what? We're going to hear him sing now. All right. Thank you. 525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments, so dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year?
In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter and stride, in 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Measuring love. Seasons of love. Seasons of love. Yeah. 525,600 minutes. 525,000 journeys to plan. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure the life of a woman or a man? In truths that she learned, or in times that he cried, in bridges he burned, or the way that she died.
Well, the story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember the year in the life of a friend.
You gotta remember
love.
You got to remember
Measuring love.
measuring love.
Seasons of love.
Seasons of love.
Seasons of
This is the season of
Charles Holt, Tom Litch, Mile High Band. Good morning, everyone here in our Teal Sanctuary, and welcome to everyone joining us online this morning. Eric Butterworth was a revered minister in the Unity tradition in New York City, a branch of our teaching here called New Thought. And he once said that things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the most important things are the ones that happen inside of you. And it speaks very much to our teaching here at Mile High Church. Some people call us the Church of the Warm and Fuzzies, the Church of Positive Thinking, and all of that is totally and absolutely true. And yet, we're also the Church of Courageous Living, of living conscious lives with great intentionality and realizing this consciousness in here is totally our responsibility. And so I love that we can come together here each week and check in with ourselves. What am I choosing? How am I showing up in my relationships? How am I showing up at work? How am I choosing kindness and compassion even in the midst of struggles perhaps going on in the world? We love to recite our vision and mission here at Mile High each week. It's coming up on the screens if you want to say it along with me. It goes like this. Our vision, oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. We're going to now move into our shared spiritual practice of song, of silence, and of a beautiful prayer from our own Reverend Jackie. But before we do that, I want to light our memorial candle in honor of a practitioner who made her transition, Nancy Turek. She hadn't been around our spiritual community for a long time. She had a beloved husband, John, who was a minister as well. And we just simply take this time to light this candle in honor of her and to bring our hearts to all those who love Nancy, that they may continue to experience her love and her divine connection everlasting.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
And in this stillness, this beautiful silence, we're reminded of the beauty of that snowfall we've had, of the silence we can feel as we step into that crisp, cold morning, and feeling that absolute presence of God right there because of the stillness, the silence, waiting for us to respond. And so it is here in this space that each one of us has the capacity to go inside and hear that still small voice that is always speaking to us, waiting for our response, knowing that we are aware of its presence even if we don't always respond to it. And in this space right here in Mile High Church this morning, we know that for everyone who is here in this beautiful sanctuary, they feel the warmth, the love, the response of their neighbor, and so too is that true online. For nothing can separate us from the divine. God is always searching for us to respond. Where are we? How are we responding? And I'm so thankful for that. That in the midst of what appears like horrific situations in California with the fires, I know God is right there in all of those first responders, in all of those people who are having to deal with rebuilding their life. God is right there. And I know that all the resources necessary to help them rebuild are there for each person, because God is all there is in all situations. Thank you for that. Thank you for that reminder, dear Spirit, that none of us go through this life alone. May we remember that always and in all ways. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is.
Rolling river God, little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through. Now I am a stone, rough and grainy still, trying to reconcile this river's chill. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hands. Sometimes raging wild, sometimes swollen high, but never have I known this river dry. The deepest part of you is where I want to stay and feel the sharpest edges wash away. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change it takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am. I'm just a little smoother in your hands. Rolling river God, these little stones are smooth. It's only once the water passes through. And when I close my eyes, I feel you rushing by. Then I know that you pick me up and noticed that I am. I'm just a little smoother in your
In support of our Back to Basics series this month, some inspirational words from Eckhart Tolle. Surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life. The only place where you can experience the flow of life is the now. So to surrender is to accept the present moment unconditionally and without reservation. It is to relinquish inner resistance to what is. And from the founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, the wick of your individual life runs deep into the oil of pure being. There is but one life, and that life is your life now. No matter what confusion appears at the surface of your life, there is always a place of calm at the center of your being. No matter how turbulent the waves may be on the ocean of your experience, beneath there is a changeless peace. Your being is submerged, but not lost in the infinite.
I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things that I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall grass bend into leaning, and suddenly the raindrops that fall have a meaning, sprinkling the scene. It makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. Oh, it sure would be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. And maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time be my friend. Let me start again. Ooh. And suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, yet I still know where I'm going. I've had my mind run around in space, yet I've watched it grow. And if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard for us to know if we should believe the things we see. Tell us, should we run away? Should we try and stay? Or would it be better just to let things be? And living in this brand new world, it may be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love, love, love. And love is real, it's real to me. And we must look inside our hearts to find a world of love like yours, like mine. A world like home.
Charles Holt, everybody, we're so blessed to have you here today.
Thank you.
As good a singer he is, he's just as good a writer. So check out those books. They're filled with authenticity, transparency, and if I remember, there's even a juicy scene or two in there as well. Maybe, yes. So check that out. Thank you, Charles. It's so wonderful to have you with us. Thank you, Bijou, Mike, Stu, Rob. A part of our vision here at Mile High Church is that Mile High can be a place either on campus or digitally that you can get positive spirituality every day. And I just want to briefly speak to our Wednesdays, that we have an online product that is a minister insight. And so it's just a brief minister sharing with you for 7 or 8 minutes, great inspiration. And then we have an in-person midweek renewal service in the Vote. There's a meditation at 6:40, some music, a message, a forgiveness ritual, and a prayer ritual. And not only for solace, but if you are serious about co-creating your life with that love intelligence, it's a great weekly practice. We're concluding our Back to Basics series today. The theme has been the divine idea, and the message today is what is greater than what was. Sometimes people ask in our church, what do we believe about the Holy Bible? And what we believe about the Holy Bible is that it is a sacred text. In fact, it's a library of sacred texts that tell us about the great mystical truths of Judaism and Christianity. What we don't do is worship the Bible here. And although it's very historical in many places, we don't always take it literally. We take it metaphorically, we take it metaphysically to improve our own lives. We also sometimes like to apply a historical or scholarly approach to the Bible. And it's interesting that many scholars point out that in that opening book of Genesis, there are actually two creation stories. The first is when God creates the heavens and the earth in 6 days and then rests. And in between there, he creates man and woman. It says women as well. And it says that they are made in the image and likeness of God. What a beautiful statement. We human beings are made in the image and likeness of God. In the next chapter, God takes some soil and breathes into it and creates the first man, Adam. And he takes a rib of Adam and creates the first woman, Eve. And they are both forbidden from eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And one must pause and wonder, why would they be forbidden from eating from that tree? And this is just my thought, but when we look back at how the gods existed back then, there were many of them, and they had this need to have power over humanity, but they also had this fear of humanity, of what they were potentially to become. In many of the old myths, the children of the gods actually overtake them. And so in the story, Eve, symbolizing the energy of awakening, the energy of birth, the energy of curiosity, she eats and she gets Adam to eat of this tree, and they are cast out of the garden, not just because God is angry with them, but because God fears that they're going to eat from another tree. And this is a little talked about ending of the story, that God actually puts a guard with a flaming sword in front of the tree of eternal life. The gods would tell us that we should always know our limitations, and yet I would say as well, we should always be tempted by our possibility. We should always know our limitations, but we should always be tempted by our possibility. Our limitations we might define as what was. Our possibility, the divine idea for our life, we might define as what is. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, the last book he ever wrote was an epic poem with his brother Fenwick entitled The Voice Celestial. And he shares, some of you may remember this quote from Candlelight. There is no need to leave the world of men, nor to retreat to some high cave or glen. Search deep within if you would truly find the springs of life in the eternal mind. Look in yourself and you at length shall view Creator God who hid himself in you. Within this precious bowl of alabaster is found the secret of the hidden master. Too long a dying world has longed to see the God that man and man alone can be. Pico della Mirandola, an Italian philosopher from the Middle Ages, had his own take on the creation story. He said that when God created Adam and Eve, he said to them that unlike every other living thing in the universe, I'm not going to plant a seed in you, but I'm going to give you seeds to sow for yourself. These seeds will cause your consciousness to live up to the level of plants. These seeds will cause you to live up to the level of an animal. These seeds you will sow, and they will have you live in accord with your human nature. And these seeds, if you plant them, will have you live up to your angelic potential. We have made you neither of heaven nor of earth, neither mortal nor immortal, so that you may, as the free and extraordinary shaper of yourself, fashion yourself in whatever form you prefer. In our Science of Mind teaching, we have an important concept that we call the mental equivalent. The mental equivalent. And it's a profound idea, but it's a little confusing because it has two different meanings. The first is what New Thought teacher Thomas Trord called a spiritual prototype. It's that divine idea for your life. It's that highest, most grand idea for your relationships. It's the divine idea for your prosperity, for your well-being, for everything in your life. And what is spiritual practice but downloading and embodying those divine ideas? The other definition of the mental equivalent is it's the current totality of your thinking about what is possible for you in your relationships, in your well-being, in your love of life, for your prosperity. The divine idea, the spiritual prototype, represents what is, and your current mental equivalent represents what was. And Holmes would tell us that it's not one single positive thought that sets the creative medium into motion. It's the consistency of your thinking that expands your mental equivalent so that it can expand and connect and embody more of this divine idea for your life. So the work of the Science of Mind and Spirit is identifying these mental equivalents and expanding them. Because if we don't identify them, we miss the possibilities of the divine ideas showing up in our lives all the time. In the 1990s, there was a very important spiritual work that was released by Peter and Bobby Farley. It was a film entitled Dumb and Dumber. And it stars two Sufi masters, I would call them, Harry and Lloyd. And the most famous scene is about possibility. Lloyd is in love with Mary, and he says to her, what are the chances of a boy like you and a girl like me getting together? And she responds, not good. Well, what do you say, maybe 1 in 100? She thinks about it for a second, and she says, more like 1 in a million. And Lloyd responds, so you're saying there's a chance? Things don't work out with Mary, and the fellas lose their motorcycle. And the very last scene of the movie, they're walking along the road, not knowing where they're going, and there's a giant bus that pulls up next to them. And on the side of the bus, it says, Hawaiian Tropic Bikini Tour. And the bus stops, and some beautiful women open the door, and they say, hey, we're looking for 2 guys to be our oil boys to help prepare us for the next 2 months for all of our performances and competitions. Harry says, you're in luck. There's a town just 2 miles that way. The girls look at them strangely, and the door closes, and the bus is starting to take off, and Lloyd grabs Harry and says, what are you thinking? And he runs, and he knocks on the doors of the bus, and it stops again, and the same beautiful girls open the door, and he says, I have to apologize for my friend. You see, the town is actually that way. The fellas are stuck there thinking, and Harry says to Lloyd, boy, 2 guys are going to get very lucky with this job. Our luck's going to come one day. We just have to keep our eyes open. And being perhaps 13 when I watched it, that bus is probably exactly what would have been on my vision board. So it spoke directly to me. But we have to think it may be happening all the time to all of us. That because our identifying ourselves with what was, because of the limitations we impose on ourselves because of what was, we miss out on the possibility of what is. And that is the crux of this philosophy. That if you're only living in what was, the creative possibilities of your life will be present, but not available to you. We have to step into what is in order to co-create our lives with this love intelligence. We have to step into what is if we're going to recognize a spirit that is greater than we are, that is always calling to us. To really achieve healing, we have to let go. We have to let go of what was and step more boldly into what is. I invite you this morning, right where you are right now, to look at your life. Look at your life. What is present for you right here and right now. The good stuff that's going on, the not so good stuff, the regret about yesterday, the excitement about tomorrow, the thought or the hurt that perhaps you haven't shared with anyone else. Look at your life from where you are and where you sit right now and ask yourself the following questions. Which is greater? What was and what has been in my life, or what is and what is to come in my life? There's no wrong answer to this question, and yet our ability to live and embrace what is the key to our spiritual growth and development in all things. Yesterday is not necessarily your friend, and tomorrow is not necessarily your enemy. But right now is the best companion you have for reflecting, embodying, opening up to those divine ideas. Don't let what was get in the way of what is and what is calling you forward. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, "How many of us go around clinging to the dead corpses of yesterday?" Emerson called it the monstrous corpse of memory. How many of us ruin the possibility of the freedom we might enjoy tomorrow by dragging the past into the present? All the good and all the beauty that existed yesterday is worthwhile today and will be worthwhile tomorrow. But we should deliberately disconnect ourselves from the lack, the limitation, the fear, and the morbidity of yesterday. Any resentment which causes the mind to continue to resist, any memory entertained by a spirit of unforgiveness, is bad not only for the health, but for the morale of the individual. There's only one person that can keep you from the possibilities of what is, and that is yourself. Now, applying common sense, some of us might think that what was is greater than what is. We might say to ourselves, you know what? I'm pretty sure I have more days behind me than ahead of me. My body used to do what I wanted it to do a little bit better than it does now. There are those loved ones who I care for so dearly who are no longer with me, and life just isn't the same without them. And yet, if we ask ourselves this question, what is what was? I don't think it's necessarily the past. It's what we think about the past. It's our tunnel vision about the past. It's those stories we tell ourselves to prop up our sense of self-righteousness or sometimes even victimhood. It's the negative you-know-what that we bought into, either from society or from what someone else told us. What is, what was, it's the way we think about our past. And when we really understand that memory can be something sacred, but that it's a function of the present moment, we can bring with us the best of what was into what is and leave the rest behind. Emerson also said, "Be not the slave of your own past. Plunge into the sublime seas. Dive deep and swim far, so you shall come back with self-respect, with new power, with an advanced experience that shall explain and overlook the old." talking about mental equivalence, let's just pause for a moment and think about for you what is means. What is? Are you open to a greater possibility in every area of your life? The opportunity to become a better person, but also a better steward of your well-being in all ways. 3 ways to better step into what is, I want to share with you today. And the first is to have the courage to envision more. Have the courage to look at your life and envision more. Often when we're sharing here, we're thinking about those parts of our lives that feel down in the dumps and how to uplift them. I invite you to look at the areas that are going pretty darn good and to ask yourself, how could these go even better? Am I open to an even grander demonstration that is equal to or better than what has been? Talking with Roger Teal now many years ago about moving to Colorado and being part of a Mile High Church, he was certainly interviewing me, but I was interviewing him in a way too, and there was one thing in particular I was looking for. And as the spiritual leader of Mile High Church, did he believe that the future of Mile High Church was equal to or could be better than what was? And if that wasn't the case, I didn't want to come. I'd just be taking care of a place that was receding, changing. Now I know at Mile High Church we have a lot of work to do to be equal to or even better, but I'll tell you, my last day as minister is when I failed to believe that our future days aren't equal to or better than what has been. What does it mean to apply this to every area of your life? I don't want to go on too much of a church tangent here, but I want to share something we'll be doing at Mile High Church this year. Last week I shared with you our ongoing initiatives, things we build programming about all the time, but each year for several years we've picked a special initiative to focus classes on and programming. And this year the ministers have decided upon the initiative of the divine feminine. The divine feminine. It's not meant to be feminism. It's not meant to be in opposition to the divine masculine, but the purpose of which, for me, is to achieve the following 3 things. First of all, it's to recognize that in history, especially religious history and in these sacred texts, the voice of the feminine has often been diminished. That the teachings of the feminine have often been hidden. And some of the great female heroines of religious history have been miscast. Again, many people view Eve as bad, as sinful, as the person who made all of this horrible stuff happen for us, called humanity. For me, she's the great heroine. She utilizes the power of awakening. It is through the feminine principle that we wake up to the truth of our humanity and seek to express in greater and greater things. I'm so grateful to Zamira and Andrew and Dodi and all these folks who created this incredible display wall. Please check it out before you leave. That expresses some of the great female mystics. The second purpose for me of the initiative is to highlight female voices. Not just in the United States, but around the world. I once read something that said something to the effect of the 19th century was very much about overcoming slavery. And the 20th century was very much about overcoming authoritarianism. The 21st century may very much be about equal gender rights across the entire world and what that can do to uplift not just the feminine, but the masculine and everything together. And that's the last purpose of this, yeah. The final purpose for me of the initiative, and our female ministers are going to teach a class on female mystics. Do you love that I'm mansplaining the divine feminine to you this morning? The last is the recognition that we all live at our best when we balance the masculine and feminine aspects of ourselves so that we can live in greater harmony, that we can live with compassionate power and awakening clarity and a courageous caring in our lives. It harkens back to some words that Jesus said way back in the Gospel according to Thomas. He said, when you make the two into one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the upper as the lower, and when you make the male and the female into a single one, so that the male shall not be male, and the female shall not be female, then you will enter the kingdom of heaven. So embrace what is by having the courage to open up to a greater vision in every area of your life. Second, assess what you are affirming. I give you the charge today to sometime today or sometime this week, take out a piece of paper and write down 10 of the most important things to you. Could be marriage, parenthood, health and well-being, success and career, your car, whatever you want it to be. And you remember, I'm sorry for bringing algebra into church, but do you remember those little signs, the greater than or the less than? Just write under each one what was and what is, and identify from your consciousness right now where what was greater and what is was greater. And what I challenge you to look at is when the what was's outweigh the what is's, that you're out of touch with the creative medium and power that wants to have its way with your life, that wants to call a new way of being and a new living forward. You are rejecting that principle that says life is not about comfort and ease. It's about meaningful growth and learning to be more authentic in every aspect of our lives. I would like what Steve Jobs said. He said, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. When we're willing to embrace that what is greater than what was, we can pick up that guitar, that paintbrush, that pen, and we can say, I'm going to create something equal to or better than anything I've created in the past. We can embody a new level of transparency and authenticity to perhaps create transformation in our careers and work situations. You can look into the eyes of your spouse and say, I love you more today than yesterday, sweetheart, but not as much as tomorrow. It takes courage to boldly step into what is, and it takes honest self-assessment. So catch it and be willing to step into that new way of being. Lastly, allow what is to work for you. Allow what is to work for you. The more we're engaged with what is, the more real it becomes to our consciousness, and the more it creates a momentum for us that leads us into grander and grander things. Throughout this series, I've been sharing and encouraging you to articulate different kinds of affirmations. We talked about the creative affirmation, which is an affirmation you can say each morning in your prayer time and think of the divine and apply it to the different areas of your life during the day. We spoke about an anchoring affirmation, something you can say when you're freaked out to call yourself back to center. And today I want to encourage you to articulate a celebration affirmation. A celebration affirmation is something that we affirm to celebrate something good that has just taken place in our lives, and to affirm that something better than that will take place as well. It could be, oh yeah. It could be, there's more where that came from. It could be, my cup runneth over. It could be, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. See, one of the keys to what is when we receive something good in our lives, one, if we don't celebrate it, we don't truly embody it. And two, if we don't affirm that this good isn't just complete in that moment, but that there's not more to come, we stop that momentum. So the next time something good happens to you, articulate that affirmation, honor it, accept it, embody it, and yet know there's even more to come. When we do this, we live in accordance with what is, we free ourselves more and more from the clutches of what was, and we live the life that we are meant to live. As we move into prayer, I want to share a final reading from Ernest Holmes, a prayer he called, "My own shall come to me." From far and near my own shall come to me. Even now it is coming to me and I receive it. My own is now manifesting itself to me and I see and know its presence. My own shall know and respond to me. My own cannot be kept from me, neither can I keep my good away from me. I receive my good now. My own shall find me no matter where I go. It will follow and claim me. I cannot hide myself from my own. My own shall come to me even though I deny it, for there is nothing in me that can hinder it from entering and taking possession of my soul. My own is now expressed. And just moving into prayer, inviting any of our incredible prayer practitioners to stand who will be available to do an affirmative prayer with you after service at the front of our stage. I just invite us in this prayerful moment to imagine that our good is a breathing, living, thriving, active thing. That it is as real as our body, as real as our to-do list, as real as our own spirit and our own soul. This good exists in, through, and around us as much as any possibility. And as we consciously today affirm our relationship with this greater good, we know that this good is grounded not in what was, but what is right here and right now. Spirit, I am open to receiving the highest and best good for my life, for my relationships, for my work, for my introspection, even my grief and pain, and places where I do not feel whole are uplifted by this good. This good of God, this divine idea, I know expresses itself in each and every one of our lives as we allow our current mental equivalent to expand beyond the tired stories of yesterday to step into the fullness of what is. Life no longer becomes an experience, but a grand adventure that we co-create and co-author with a divine source, ever available, singing its song in our heart right here and right now. May we embrace it, may we live it, may we enjoy it. Let it be and let it become, and so it is. Amen.
And when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that you've picked me up and noticed that I I'm just a little smoother in your hands.
Thank you, Charles. Isn't it wonderful to have Charles with us today? Speaking about Mile High Church, last week we had kind of an online community brainstorming. Many of you joined us there. And today, in person in the vote, 11:30, 11:45-ish, we'll see when we can get over there. Dr. Michelle, myself, and Reverend Jackie are just kind of leading us through a little process of community brainstorming. So if anyone wants to join together and imagine divine possibilities for Mile High Church, we welcome you there. We are so grateful for all of the abundance that makes its way into Mile High Church. Thanks for everything that you choose to give. It allows us to thrive, be healthy, and to set our path for now and the days to come. And I love that our offering here is also a place to affirm our own abundance, to know that I myself and you as well are connected with the divine flow, and that when we give, it returns to us manyfold. And it's a wonderful time to know the abundance for the people around you as well, to affirm that we all live in an infinite good and that there's more than enough for all of us. So we receive that good as we move into this time of offering. Invite everyone to take their gifts literally, physically, or metaphorically as we say our offering affirmation together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And the answer is not very far. The song of the sages, the knowledge of the ages is living where you reside. You have the key that unlocks the door to enter in that sacred place you haven't gone before, where deep meets deep, soul to soul. Feel that connection as the truth unfolds. I am, you Yes, you are the key that unlocks the door to freedom and leads you to me. Look deep inside, trust the force that guides you. It knows the way. There's no separation. We're one and the same. A child of the Creator, known by different names. The Alpha and Omega, eternal flame. It burns deep inside you. Do you know my name? I am from the mountains to the oceans. I am from the rocks to the trees. I am all the stars and constellations. I am, you are. I am from the mountains to the ocean. I am from the rocks to the trees. I am all the stars and constellations. I am spiritual and mystical. I am light, I am love. I live in you, and you live in me. From the very low to the heavens above. There's no separation. We're one and the same. A child of the Creator, known by different names. The Alpha and Omega,
Thank you so much, Charles Holt. What a gift to have you with us today. Thank you. If you are new to Mile High, I just want to let you know that we have a welcome center in the middle of our lobby right out here, and I will be out there after the service to hand you a gift bag, talk a little bit about Mile High. We've got some discount coupons in there. And also, our amazing practitioners are down in front, and they are available for a short affirmative prayer.
Thank you, Carol. We want to let you know a few great things that are happening in our various ministries here at Mile High Church, starting with Stacy Butters, our amazing youth director.
Hey everybody, you know that here at Mile High we are very committed to lifting up our youth, and that sometimes means talking about things that are hard. So today we have a workshop. It's a youth workshop about youth suicide and self-harm, and we have 2 different rooms set up, one for adults, one for teens, 6th grade on up. And we've brought in some really special people for that. If you have youngsters, we have childcare set up, and we have snacks for everybody who comes. So
it's all about the snacks.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, Stacy. And Reverend Kay from our healing ministry.
Yes, I'm so excited because next week, Lynn McTaggart, the curator of Power of 8 and the Healing Intention Circles that we do here regularly, is going to be doing a workshop for all of us. So I hope that you will have time to come after the service next week and join us and bring your intention, and we will go for it.
Thank you, Kay, for landing her for us. What a great thrill. And Dr. Michelle from our travel ministry.
Travel ministry. Just here to remind you all, there is a solar eclipse of the sun in August of 2026. And while that seems like it's far away, it's not going to happen again for 42 more years. And a bunch of us Mile Highers are going to be on a cruise ship in Iceland during that total eclipse of the sun. There's a lot of other ports we're going to stop in and check on in Norway and other things. And if you'd like to be with us on that trip, all of these eclipse cruises are starting to sell out. So we would love to hear from you. I will be down there at the event center with my husband Ken afterwards with flyers and information. Come and see us. We'd love to have you travel with us for a total eclipse of the sun.
Thanks, Michelle. If you will, stand and say a benediction with me before we sing our peace song. If you'd like, repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, body, and all that I do. I give thanks for it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life.